Let's go to the commodity space now. Interestingly, we're discussing crab today, a high-value seafood commodity consumed widely across coastal and riverine communities. Well, some people could call it an elite commodity or elite product, but it's one healthy one that attracts some market. We have Tomiwa Jewale, an analyst from financial derivatives company, joining us now. Hi, Tomiwa. Welcome to the program. Why are we discussing crab to start with?
Good afternoon, Nene. Yeah, as you rightly said, crab is a high-value commodity. Now we're seeing increasing demand, especially in the premium section segment of the commodity, especially in restaurants and hotels. And with the rising population and the rising income segment of the median income, we're seeing a lot of demand increasing for crab. But why demand is increasing, we're seeing that supply remains limited, and this is because in Nigeria, predominantly a lot of the crab farming is done is artisanal farming, where we don't have proper commercial farming like poultry and fishery. So, what we have is that people go to the sea and just catch crabs. So that is limiting the amount of supply that we have. Also, we realize that in recent times, operational costs of fishermen are increasing. With the rise in the cost of diesel to power the fishing boats is also becoming more expensive. So we are seeing operational costs increasing. We are seeing that production is limited because a lot of the farming is still just wild farming instead of commercial farming. So all this is happening while the demand is increasing. So we're seeing a huge increase, a huge rise in the price of crab in recent times.
So can we even say we have an industry for crab in Nigeria, even though we do have the potentials as usual, and Nigeria has a lot of coastal areas? Can we say that we actually have an active industry focusing on crabs?
We have an industry, but like a lot of industries in Nigeria, they are still small, they are still unstructured, they are still informal, and that is limiting the productivity of the industry. So before we're able to be able to really fuel this industry where it can actually be a major source of employment, where it can create job and really boost the income of farmers and fishermen, we need to see formality in the sector. Basically, we need to see proper linkages between the fishermen, between processors, between the final consumer. So right now we have an industry, but still, like I earlier said, a lot is still largely done by just fishermen going to the oceans to catch the crabs. Meanwhile, we need to go into proper commercial farming where we have crab hatcheries, where there are a lot of investments in producing processing facilities, where we have extension services that are training fishermen and farmers new varieties of fishing, modern ways of fishing, so that they can have proper commercial farming industry, so that we will be able to produce in large extent and be able to consistently meet the rising demand for.
All right, Tommy. Well, I hope we can do that in the nearest future. Thank you so much for your inputs on the program.
Thank you for having me.